I am Challenger. Welcome to In Real Life Tech Reviews. With the iPhone 15 lineup just a day away from being announced, and after a year of use, I thought, well, now's the perfect time to review the iPhone 14 Pro. I actually upgraded to the iPhone 14 Pro on launch day last year, coming up from the 8 Plus. I debated going for the 14 Pro Max, but felt it was just probably a bit too big for me, and really the size between the 8 Plus and the 14 Pro were really comparable. I'm a case and a screen protector guy, so my phone's held up really well. No scratches, nothing. In comparison to my 8 Plus, which had plenty of small dents and scratches on the aluminium, the stainless steel of the 14 Pro has held up really well over time. The glass back and front, no signs of wear. Really the only damage I've had is to the screen protector. The always on display has been a really nice feature to have on the iPhone. I have a picture of my kids. There's a depth effect, so some of the time is hidden behind their heads. It's a really nice thing to have on a phone. You can't use widgets with the depth effect, which took me a long time to realise. It really wasn't obvious, but once I'd figured that out, and I was struggling to find widgets that were actually useful to me anyway, so I didn't mind losing those. I put a tutorial and a use case together on my blog, which I've linked to in the description below. But one really good use I found for it is using it for recipes. So rather than constantly unlocking my phone or having a recipe book on the side, I just have a lock screen wallpaper which has a pizza dough recipe on it. Put it down on the table next to me and I can carry on. I can just glance over at my phone, not having to worry about battery life, not having to lean over awkwardly trying to unlock the phone, making the phone all grubby and dirty with bits of flour and everything else. It's been a really nice feature to have. One thing I really like about the always on display is, as an Apple Watch user, if I leave the room and go far away enough, the screen will go blank. It will just turn off because no one's there to look at it. But when I walk back into the room and it comes to life, but not fully, just enough that you can see it, it's such a nice touch. I went for the 14 Pro over the regular 14 because I really wanted the telephoto lens. I know Apple only include the wide angle and the ultra wide angle on their regular models, but it's the telephoto lens that I really wanted because I did use that a fair bit on my 8 Plus. The 0.5 lens is good and you definitely can use it to bring a lot more into the scene, but if you're trying to capture certain things which are in close range, you get really distorted edges. It's not really the camera lens I want. I would have preferred a 0.5, a 1, a 3 and a 6 times zoom. I think that would have been the sweet spot. The 2 times lens is actually a crop on the 1 times lens, and 3 just doesn't zoom enough for me, so a 1.3.6 in that configuration I think would have worked better for my personal taste, but I can't complain too much. Raw photos from the 1 times camera are actually really good, really usable. I've been messing around with Photomator a lot more, working with the raw photos, masking, and trying to really bring the best out of photos, and it's actually been really good. FaceTime camera has definitely seen a massive improvement over the 8 Plus FaceTime camera I had. I don't really take selfies of myself. I'm usually taking a selfie of me and the kids or me and the family, so I'm always going for the wide option. It does a good job of fitting everyone in, face detection and all of that. I can't really complain about HDR or anything like that. For a small front-facing camera, it does a really good job. The dynamic island is a really good use of that space where otherwise you've just got dead space ready for sensors. There are a few limitations which I'll cover in a minute, but for me, it's been a really nice feature, especially for live scores in sports. We had the World Cup just a couple of months after the 14 Pro came out, and it was really good to be able to keep up with scores like that. I might be at work in a meeting, or there's more than one game going on, so I can watch one on the TV, have the other live scores on my phone, and yeah, I've got it all covered. Live activities go hand in hand with Dynamic Island really, because something like live scores on your lock screen, you've got a nice big card showing you the teams playing and what the score is, and then when you're using the phone it goes up into the Dynamic Island. Deliveroo in the UK has just made that available, I think. I saw that over the weekend but they're trying to cram too much information into the dynamic island, whereas their live activity is actually really nice. Ringo for parking in the UK have two options. One is you set a predetermined amount of time and then it will give you a countdown to when it's going to finish. But the car parks I prefer are the ones where you just start the timer and then when you finish, that's when it figures out how much you've got to pay. And it does a really good job of showing that as a live activity in both cases. Battery life's pretty good on the 14 Pro. My 8 Plus was down to something like 84% capacity. It was in need of replacing anyway, but yeah, hung on for another year or so and then went up to the 14 Pro. 14 Pro is already down to 94% for me, so almost halfway to where the 8 Plus was after 5 years. And I'm sure the always on display screen has something to do with that, and I have seen people complaining about battery life, but generally I get more than a day out of it unless I'm really heavy playing games or having to work from my phone because I'm commuting to different places for work. The iPhone 14 Pro wasn't our first MagSafe device in the house, and so we've built up a small collection of chargers. Really easy, you dock and you're charging, really nice. That looks like it's going to get more powerful with the next OS update, where in landscape mode you'll get more widgets, so yeah, I'm looking forward to trying that out in the next week or so. I really like Face ID. This was my first real use for it in, beyond setting up a phone and just playing with it in store. There's one scenario where I really prefer Touch ID, which was making payments with your phone, because I would rest my thumb as I tapped and it was frictionless. But Face ID is generally invisible for every other use case. And to be honest, I'm being really picky there because it's another second that it takes to get a payment ready, and usually you're waiting for the cashier to do something or the self-checkout's taking a bit of time, so you get ready anyway. But yeah, Face ID is pretty cool. So that's my short long-term review of the iPhone 14 Pro. If you've got an iPhone 14 Pro or you've been waiting to upgrade, it'd be good to know what you like about the phone or what it is you're waiting for before you upgrade. If you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe.